all year round. Schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from your Indeed dashboard. Learn more by visiting Indeed.com/credit.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers will not have LeBron James tonight for their LA showdown against the Clippers. LeBron has a sore right ankle. This will be the fifth game this season LeBron has missed because of an injury. The Lakers are 2-2 in LeBron's absence. 7 p.m. tip-off tonight at Crypto.com on TNT. Coco Gauff advanced to the Australian Open semifinals for the first time in her career. The 19-year-old sister defeated Marta Kostyuk of Ukraine in 3 sets. Gauff is ranked 4th in the world. Remember Hugh Jackson? He was head coach of the Cleveland Browns from 2016 to 2018 and the Oakland Raiders for 1 year in 2011. Jackson is in final talks with Morehouse College in Atlanta to become their next head football coach. The famous HBCU hasn't had a winning season in 6 years. Jackson is available. He was fired at Grambling after going 8-14 in 2 seasons. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Got me a damn girl on my team.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe we have the best tag team in morning radio. Dominique DiPrima and Tavis Smiley as the first black woman in Los Angeles to anchor a morning drive talk radio show. Dominique covers local politics like a blanket. Weekday mornings from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. At 9 a.m., Dominique passes the baton to Tavis Smiley, who talks to everybody about everything every day until 12 noon. KBLA's dynamic duo, Dominique and Tavis. It's no wonder the LA Civil Rights Department is honoring Dominique DiPrima this year at its Tell Our Story honoring black journalist leaders and storytellers event, Thursday, February 8th. Or that the John M. Langston Bar Association of Los Angeles is honoring Tavis Smiley at its 47th Annual Installation and Scholarship Awards Gala with its Community Impact Award on February 10th. We couldn't be more proud of Dominique and Tavis, who make black history every day, not just in February. If you're missing Dominique and Tavis weekday mornings on KBLA Talk 1580, you're missing out. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we've got your black.
Holla, yeah.
First things first.
First things first, it's the DU General, Money B. I'ma put you up on the schedule, 6 to 9, 8 weekdays, not 2 and 7. Let's go. We got a lot to talk about, so much to pedal through. Unapologetically progressive. Tune to KBLA 1580 to get the mess. We're your ancestors' favorite radio station. First black on talk radio, left side of the nation. Me and Dominique DiPrima go way back. Tag Smiley making sure the station stays black. Discussing all the issues in our community. We're hosted black and brown and others find unity. So let's talk about it. Maybe we can improve it. Digital underground, always down with the movement. So we tune in. The first things first with the queen of black talk radio, Dominique DiPrima. Go sis.
First things first.
KBLA Talk 1580. Good morning. Good morning and God bless. I'm Dominique DiPrima. The show is called First Things First. And my first thing today and every day, giving thanksgiving praises and asking for blessings from God, asking for the blessings of the ancestors and the elders and getting it going. Good morning. Hello, hello, hello. So the way we do things around here, the first hour, we typically look to the left coast, what's going on this side of town as we broadcast from Leimert Park, Africa Town, Los Angeles, California, USA. Hour 2, we go national, international, and beyond. And in the third hour, we do a deep dive on a person or a hot topic of interest to you. I mentioned that we are definitely in election season, whether you're tracking it or not. So that means that things are going to be a little bit scrambled around, just trying to get all these candidates in, all of these measures and things that we have to get our minds around, the judges, all of those things are playing out, and now is the time because in actuality, we will be getting our ballots in the mail the first week in February. Now, that doesn't mean you have to fill it out the first week in February. You could hold off, but in case you do, we want to be ready. 800-920-1580. This is the perfect time to call me because it's just me, you, and the microphone. Today we will be hearing from Supervisor Holly Mitchell. We'll be hearing from Sade Elawari, who's, of course, running for Assembly. And we will be checking in with Congresswoman Barbara Lee, who would like your vote to be the next senator from the great state of California. So we got a lot going on. That said, you're welcome into all of those conversations. But if you have something random on your mind or you want to respond to something you've heard on the show, on the air, on any of the shows, 800-920-1580 is where you would go for that. You can also get to me on social media, KBLA 1580 on every platform, or DiPrima Radio, my last name and then radio, pretty straight ahead, on all my platforms. I'm even on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel, but I am streaming right now on KBLA 1580 on YouTube. Okay. Lot of important stuff going on. I was talking to you yesterday about Supervisor Holly Mitchell's motion to put some money into the Martin Luther King Jr. Community Medical Center. That, very important hub of well-being in South LA, serves about 1.35 million. It was a heavy lift for then Supervisor Dr. Mark Ridley Thomas to get that thing back up and running. And now Supervisor Holly Mitchell is taking steps to shore it up. So that is happening today at the LA County Board of Supervisors meeting. You've been asked to show up. We've been asked to show up and support Supervisor Mitchell in this effort. Today, you can do that in person this morning. You could also do it by phone. If you go to the Board of Supervisors website, they have all the instructions there on how to dial in and make a comment. Or, it's too late to write. If you wanted to do it in writing, you had to do it by yesterday. But you can still call in or show up in person. And I know that we here in Los Angeles, West Coast, we have a strong contingency of activists, I'm going to say woke, because to me that's still a positive thing, even though the right has done their best to tarnish it. We have a large contingent of people that are conscious, that know what's going on, and that still doesn't protect us, right? We have, I always say, a bipolar state. We've got very, very red and very, very blue, not so much purple. They're just little sections. It's like a tale of two states. It's almost segregated, really. And so even though you have your crew, I have my crew, we have our KBLA delegation, and we know that people know what time it is, we still have to show up for stuff like this, because it wouldn't take much for the work to establish and then reestablish Martin Luther King Community Hospital to just be undone, right? Especially in the environment that we are in now, where the attacks on our even existing existential attacks are unmasked. They're not even disguised anymore. That's why I say it's no longer dog whistles, it's dog sirens. And so wherever we have communities of consciousness, we need to make sure we show up, show out. And that's going to include voting, even though I know some of us are disillusioned. Some folks don't want to vote for Biden again. Even if you don't, you need to vote down the ticket, right? Supervisors and assembly members and city council members, because in the space of our communities, those folks make a difference that goes beyond any party affiliation or any philosophical agree or disagree. When they decide, okay, we're going to put this money into MLK Community Health Center, or we're going to, support this nonprofit, that nonprofit. We're going to try to adhere to a care first model and not just go back to full law and order, no matter how much hype we hear about the retail crime. And, I've had quite a number of people arguing on this show, including 2 different candidates for district attorney yesterday, that the smash and grab and the retail theft is a real problem. I think it's overly hyped, but okay, maybe I am too statistically oriented, and just the fact that it even exists is something that's making people feel unsafe and scared. So I concede that point. You need to feel safe and you don't want to be scared. But let's not get caught up to the point where we go along with the okie doke that brought you the 3 strikes law, that brought you the Clinton crime bill, that criminalized everything we did. And my friend John, Big John, said to me yesterday, we need to stop saying warehouse, because it's not that black people or Latino people are being warehoused in prisons. They are being exploited as cheap labor. So the explosion of the prison industrial complex that came about, and then we complain about that, but there's a disconnect when we start saying, yeah, rah, create a task force, spend billions of dollars to stop people from stealing Gucci purses. I'm not saying that I want anarchy and that everybody should just be, smashing and grabbing and doing whatever they want to every store. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that when we buy into the hysteria, the law and order, scare you into voting for me kind of a pattern, it never serves us. It never does. It's like we have buyer's remorse every time. When are we going to stop being Wile E. Coyote and start being the Roadrunner in this scenario? I just, I see the wave. I hear the wave coming. It, as progressive prosecutors and lawmakers come under pressure and are pushed out or targeted for various charges. At the same time we were talking about Claudine Gay, many of us may have missed what happened to Marilyn Mosby, the prosecutor who brought charges and tried to get justice for Freddie Gray. They have taken her down. She will do some time based on paperwork around her applications for mortgages. And now look what's happening with the prosecutor in Georgia, where I don't know if she slept with that other prosecutor or not. Me personally, I don't care. But the methodology that you're seeing right now in targeting black women, especially black women like Fani Willis, black women in power, who in her case is, obviously hated by all the MAGA folks. But this picking off, it's not a one-off. It's not, oh, well, she shouldn't have gone on a trip with that dude or whatever. It's not, oh, well, she shouldn't have plagiarized, because if you look at these cases, it's not about that. And so in these times, I feel like we the proudly woke, need to push back against these talking points, which turn into waves of policy, public opinion, and law that undermine the well-being of our community. And I saw it. I've been on this microphone long enough. Praise God. Thank you, Lord. I love my job. Thank you to all of the people that listen, and whether you listen because you can't stand me, or you listen because you love me, or you just like the discourse, whatever it is, I'm so grateful. But the point is, I've been doing this long enough to have been through this before, and I've seen the waves coming. I was a little voice going, no, don't do it, when y'all passed the 3 strikes law. I was like, no, don't do it. You think it's going to keep you safe, and it's going to put all of your relatives in jail for ridiculously long periods of time for things like taking pizza. Don't do it. I don't hate to say I told you so. I'm saying it, and I want us to look. I've lost jobs over positions that I've taken on the radio more than once. I've been suspended for advocating policies or speaking out against policies that were experiencing a moment. Now we get on these social media bandwagons, right, where everyone's making the same comment under a post. Someone already said that. Why are you posting it again? But what it shows is not just that we are not being original, but that we get caught up in these waves of thought. And that is one of the reasons why I want to have Talking Point Tuesday. When you find yourself just, flowing along in a wave of thought that you never really had a chance to break down and say, well, why are we saying this? What does it mean? And I think the reaction to the smash and grab phenomena is one of those waves. It's a wave that's carrying you out to the sea of fix everything by arresting your way out of it, like we saw in the 90s. And I don't want us to go for the okie doke again. Did anybody watch the debate last night? The folks running for Senate, Adam Schiff, Katie Porter, and Barbara Lee, who will be on in the third hour of this show, by the way. She is obviously already a congresswoman, longtime congresswoman. It was interesting. And also Steve Garvey, the former baseball great, was there because he's running also. I just forget about that. But apparently he's got some momentum as a Republican candidate. His answers, though, was very throwback. And I'm not an ageist. I mean, him and Barbara Lee are both chronologically gifted. I'm not an ageist. You guys know that. I have argued repeatedly on this show that it's not about the person's chronological age. It's about their fitness for the job, their well-being, mentally, physically, and their policies, right, and plans. But when I heard Garvey talking, I felt like he was channeling Ronald Reagan, only with some more modern day arch conservative underpinnings, right? It was like the vibe was given time machine, actor from California becomes president vibes. That's what it was given me. I found, to me, that debate should have hurt him substantively, but who knows? Because people are living in this weird political nostalgia, craving days when we couldn't share the same bathrooms, craving days when it was illegal for us to marry. So who the heck knows what the response would be? For me, it was like, are you kidding me right now? These are your answers. And I think it was a tough debate because they were battling the clock, and I felt like there was a lot of nerves up on the stage. Clearly, Adam Schiff had an advantage just in having been an impeachment manager and done so much time on the microphone in high-pressure media-focused situations. But I'd love to hear your thoughts if you heard it. 800-920-1580 or saw it. It was on Fox, actually. We got a lot to talk about. 800-920-1580. This is Unapologetically Progressive, KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Climate is king.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe that caring for the community means caring about the climate. You might have heard that we announced a pretty bold 12-month, $2 million campaign to do 4 things. Increase climate literacy, turn up the volume on communities of color in the climate conversation, connect everyday people with the resources they need to survive and thrive, and highlight frontline climate justice crusaders of color throughout this year. KBLA Talk 1580 will be bringing you insightful interviews on all of our shows to help raise your climate IQ. Each quarter this year, we will also be hosting free climate events in various communities throughout the city with food, fun, and forward-thinking conversations. Thanks to partners like LADWP, Metro, Caltrans, the Sierra Club, the California Community Foundation, the California Endowment, AQMD, MWD, and more. You'll also be hearing more about a couple of national town halls broadcasting live from Los Angeles, to which you will be invited. And we'll be rolling out a robust social media campaign on all our platforms, as well as an outdoor media campaign, all designed to educate, enlighten, and empower you in our fight for climate justice.
We want cleaner air.
Caring about the community means caring about the climate. At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe that we really can change the world if we care enough.
Of course I use Mr. Clean Magic Eraser to clean tough messes off my stovetop and bathtub. But then I discovered I can also use it to easily clean my patio furniture and even my shoes. I'm hooked.
And when wipes won't cut it, I use Magic Eraser Sheets. They're thin and flexible erasers, perfect for everyday messes, like gunk on my counters and sinks. They really are magical.
The reviews are in. Mr. Clean Magic Eraser and Sheets make cleaning look easy.
Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DiPrima right now.
But speaking of waking up to something good, we all want to wake up to something good. California State University faculty have a tentative deal. Now, they were supposed to be out on strike all week this week, and they rolled out en masse on all 23 of those campuses yesterday. That's the first, an historical first. Looks like the students back them up. From what I'm reading, the classrooms were mostly empty. Students did not want to cross picket lines. They were being asked to report which teachers didn't show up to class, and they were refusing to do so. Go students. So that's great news, and it looks like there's a deal, which means that until a decision is made on that tentative deal, the strike is off. So the strike, which had been planned for the rest of the week, will not be taking place today. The CSU members, the members of that union, will have to ratify the deal. But something tells me that after that massive walkout on all 23 campuses, they probably came up with a deal that was going to move the needle, because the thing that triggered that walk-off was a so-called last best offer by the university system, which did not meet anywhere near the needs, demands of those workers, those coaches, those counselors, those professors who walked out. So that's great news. I mean, it's back to when we fight, we win. It's the season of strikes. It's the expansion of labor in this country. And I think that the writer's strike and the actor's strike and the Teamster strike that didn't happen and the teacher's strike and Local 99, those janitors and support staff on the high school and elementary school campuses, all of those strikes created momentum, or labor actions, UAW, to help the California State Faculty Association to get a quick deal, because it is clear that not only is public opinion behind workers getting a better deal, a fair share or closer to a fair share of what they should be making when they are the ones that keep the wheels turning in these institutions, but also that the appetite for strikes, the appetite to stay out until we get a decent deal is there. It's been demonstrated time and time again, from the United Auto Workers to the Screen Actors Guild to the incredible stamina of the writers when they walked out, and they were on strike for a very long time. I think we have made a point to the big corporations, and hopefully we'll keep making that point, which is that we will do what it takes to get a fair shake, to get a fair deal, to be able to live where we work, to be able to work one job instead of 3 or even 2. It's fine if you want to work 2 jobs. Maybe you're trying to stack your chips or whatever. But if we're talking about to be able to pay rent and keep the lights on, you have to work 2 jobs. That's not a sustainable model. It just isn't. And so congratulations going out to those faculty and the students who supported their professors, refused to report on them, and for the most part did not cross those picket lines. The teaching and classes are supposed to be back in session today. The university system is telling students look for messages from their instructors. Now, of course, the deal has to be approved by the rank and file members of the union, but it looks like they got some of the stuff they were looking for. They didn't go into detail, but part of the problem was not just the amount of the raise, which the union had asked for 12% and the universities had offered 5%. But other changes, structural changes like the lowest salary levels being raised, what they call salary floors, for where the lowest paid workers in that ecosystem would get a little bit more. And then workplace safety measures and parental leave. So it sounds like also they're going to have their salary increase is going to be retroactive back to July, which is a great deal and probably gave some flexibility as far as the percentage that would go up. If you're giving me a raise, but you're saying I'm going to be able to collect 6, maybe 8 months of, about 6 months of back pay at that higher level, that is a blessing. The chancellor, Mildred Garcia, said that she was extremely pleased, deeply appreciative that we've reached common ground with CFA that will end the strike immediately. That was surprise good news. I think most folks expected this to drag on for a while, like some of the other strikes we've seen, but hopefully that is a deal that the California Faculty Association feels good about, that those 29,000 professors, counselors, librarians, lecturers, coaches sign off on this deal and feel like they got what they were looking for. That would be a great way to start the semester, certainly a great way to start the day. And I do think we will continue to see this season of strikes at least through this year, because aside from the fact that we're dealing with inflation, even though they're saying that the levels of inflation have flattened out some, the prices are still higher than they were a year ago. And so whatever gains we saw due to the worker shortage during the pandemic seem like they've been erased by the prices going up. And not only that, a lot of people had the realization that I don't have to do what I've always done. If I'm working from home, can I keep working from home? If I've decided to drop out of the workforce and live on, my retirement or whatever, Social Security, whatever I have, because I don't want to risk getting sick in a pandemic, maybe I don't have to go back. If I am not able to live near my work because my wages are too low, maybe it doesn't have to be that way. I think that, along with the increasing consciousness or wokeness, the wonderful wokeness of Generation Z and the millennials too, has pushed the envelope even further, because you're going to have that support, and you're going to have that consciousness of the fact that workers generate the wealth, but they, for the most part, do not get their fair share. And I think that consciousness is increasing. It's one of the reasons why Republicans are on full-out, total panic mode about anti-wokeness, trying to put the genie of consciousness back in the bottle. And I, for one, think it's too late. They can keep legislating it. All they're going to do is make those books more appealing to Gen Z and the alphas as well. They're not going to just roll over for this. It's a perfect time to call me, 800-920-1580. News, traffic, and sports, and more. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. President Biden is honoring 2 Navy SEALs who are presumed dead after going missing off the coast of Somalia. He said in a statement that it's a profound loss for our country. The 2 disappeared earlier this month during a special covert mission to seize Iranian missile parts on their way to Yemen. One fell into the rough waters, the other jumped in to rescue him. Faith leaders and council members are rallying today to call on the New York City Council to override Mayor Eric Adams' veto of a bill that requires police to fill out more paperwork during stops. Faith leaders are expected to speak about how the bill delivers greater police transparency and accountability. The African-American mayor, who is a former police officer, is urging council members to take a ride in a patrol car. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
New year, new hiring needs? Indeed's end-to-end solution helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates all year round. Schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from your Indeed dashboard. Learn more by visiting Indeed.com/credit.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers will not have LeBron James tonight for their LA showdown against the Clippers. LeBron has a sore right ankle. This will be the fifth game this season LeBron has missed because of an injury. The Lakers are 2-2 in LeBron's absence. 7 p.m. tip-off tonight at Crypto.com on TNT. Coco Gauff advanced to the Australian Open semifinals for the first time in her career. The 19-year-old sister defeated Marta Kostyuk of Ukraine in 3 sets. Gauff is ranked 4th in the world. Remember Hugh Jackson? He was head coach of the Cleveland Browns from 2016 to 2018 and the Oakland Raiders for 1 year in 2011. Jackson is in final talks with Morehouse College in Atlanta to become their next head football coach. The famous HBCU hasn't had a winning season in 6 years. Jackson is available. He was fired at Grambling after going 8-14 in 2 seasons. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Cover California is a free service from the state that's already helped millions of people like you get and pay for health insurance. With financial help to lower the cost of health coverage, you could get a quality health plan for less than $10 a month. Every plan covers preventive care, doctor visits, emergency care, and more. If you have questions, we're here to help every step of the way. Cover California, this way to health insurance. Enroll by January 31st at coveredca.com.
Get deals on what you need during MVP's bonus days at Lowe's. Right now, save $250 when you buy a DeWalt 12-inch sliding miter saw and adjustable stand together. Plus, save $710 on an LG kitchen suite and earn 3 times the bonus points on all LG appliances. Because Lowe's knows savings, Lowe's knows pros. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Discount taken at time of purchase. See sales associate for details. Bonus points calculated before tax and fees after applicable discounts of any. Valid 1/15 to 1/26. Subject to change.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we do Black history every single day. In fact, as the only Black talk radio station west of the Mississippi, we are Black history. Our annual Black History Month luncheon is fast approaching, and we want to be sure to give you ample time to get your company, organization, church, or group to join us at this year's celebration on the last day of the month, Thursday, February 29th at noon. Last year, we honored iconic local Black media personalities, including Pat Harvey, Jim Hill, Mark Brown, Beverly White, Sandy Banks, and Pat Prescott, and raised $20,000 in scholarships. This year, we're honoring Black Hollywood creatives who have used their artistic genius as climate justice champions. At this year's luncheon, we will be showcasing and sharing their inspiring work on our big screen. Plus, a scrumptious meal, live music, great company, and lots of fun with your favorite KBLA Talk 1580 hosts. So contact us today at info@smileyAudiomedia.com or call 323-290-4690. That's info@smileyAudiomedia.com or call 323-290-4690. We hope to see you Thursday, February 29th as we close out Black History Month. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your Black.
Granddad, what's good?
Hey there, got us a quarter pounder with cheese and McNuggets.
Wow, haven't had our special McDonald's order in a minute.
Heard your little tic-tac-toe dance didn't get no likes.
Oh man, is Mom telling everybody?
You know she is.
There's a deal for every favorite grandson at McDonald's. Right now, get one favorite like a quarter pounder with cheese or 10-piece chicken McNuggets and get another for just $1. Price and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer. Valid for item of equal or lesser value.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
I do appreciate you. Big shout out to those in the YouTube chat making some great points. Velvet said they're not doing their job. How in the hell are criminals getting away with smash and grabs? And that may be, but the other question is why do we have so many people in our country, in our city, in our region, one of the richest regions and one of the wealthiest countries in the world, that feel they are at the point of desperation to go and do a smash and grabs. It's, because it's not just enforce our way out of everything. Let's figure out what the hell is going on. Ben Frank says he works 3 jobs. To me, I mean, more power to you. You can do it. You have the stamina, the motivation, but you shouldn't have to do that unless you want to do that, I believe. Free MRT, Velvet says. Absolutely agree with that one. But it's true. And Ben Frank says, stay woke or stay asleep. And I think that's right. These are the kinds of talking points we have to push back on. Wokeness is a disease. No, wokeness is the opposite of being sort of the Republican zombie model. Those of you who've been with me since Front Page know I used to always say there's a zombie on your lawn when I was talking about Mitt Romney when he was running. But the reason I say that is because I won't even call it discipline, because it seems like just a very zombie-like devotion to spewing the same talking points, even if they make no sense at all, until they believe what they are saying, and then they're able to convince others. Let's go to Jeanette, calling us from Inglewood. Hi, Jeanette.
Good morning, Dominique. Thank you for taking my call. It's been a while. I have 5 things that I wanted to quickly say.
Okay.
It is. Number 1, we should believe Trump when he says he will be a dictator. And the definition for a dictator is a leader who has control and power over the country, and that's what he wants. Number 2, under Trump, white privilege will be on steroids. Number 3.
Yeah.
All we have to do is think of what we feel was white privilege, then take it up. Okay, number 3, when protesting wars and other issues up under Trump, it will be okay for people from other states to come to where the protesters are and shoot them under Trump. Number 4, to the people who read the Bible, in 1 Samuel chapter 8, verses 10 through 18, I'll just summarize. God warned the people of a hard time if they have a ruler. And he said a portion of your income will go to support his government, and you will cry out for relief from that leader, but your pleas will go unanswered. That's the New International Version, if anybody's interested. And number 5, when Jesus rebuked, it was either a person or the person's actions. So I rebuke the words that I just spoke because I don't want them to happen. So now I speak what I want. I speak what I want and not what I don't want. I believe the people's eyes are open and they vote for Joe Biden, and he is the president in 2025. Thank you.
Okay, Jeanette. Yeah, it has been a while. It's great to hear your voice and that you've distilled your thoughts into 5 of your own talking points and then rebuke them. Not today, Satan. Not today. 800-920-1580 is the number Jeanette called. I think all of those are really excellent points. And I love your final point because all of these are avoidable to the extent that we organize and vote. If we don't, we will definitely have another term for the Orange Menace. There's no question about it. Because he's got the momentum within his own party, albeit the base is more activated during a primary and less activated during the general. But we don't know. We don't know. And I'm not, fangirling out on Biden because I'm pretty disappointed in some of the decisions that he has made, and particularly his handling of what is going on in Gaza. What to do? We have to vote and we have to organize. That I know for sure. We have to track the wins and say how are we benefiting in a cost-benefit analysis. And I think when our back is to the wall and we're dealing with things that are disturbing, like the killing, the murdering, the slaughter that's going on in Gaza, the continued killing and terrorization of Black Americans by police, whether or not CNN is covering it, and the ongoing attacks on our existence, our inclusion, our even being able to be at the table, our history. It's easy to just throw up our hands and say, oh, F Biden, F America. But if you're like me and you're on team stay and fight, then we have to be strategic in understanding where we get the better deal and what, without losing sight of long-term goals for a more comprehensive change. And not only where do we get the better deal based on what the platforms and policies are that are being put forth, but also where do we get the better deal based on what we're able to do after the election in organizing, pressuring, continuing to exert our influence on many different ways, many different platforms, whether it's protesting, whether it's boycotting, voting, getting involved in actual governance. The problem with 2024 is that both candidates will be essentially lame ducks. It's second-term presidents, so they'll be less susceptible to any kind of pressure. But you have one that said unequivocally and repeatedly that he plans to be a dictator. And so, if you're not down with that agenda, then you really got to consider the fact that you may have very little leverage, especially in a party that even without being in power in Congress is still having trouble getting anything at all done, right? I didn't get to do a little happy dance that Mr. DeSatan dropped out yesterday, dropped out of the race for president. We saw it coming, but still at one of those happy moments because he's been such an extremist in terms of the policies. Now, he's basically, he's endorsed Trump. He's endorsed he who shall not be named, as did Tim Scott. Did you guys see Tim Scott's endorsement? It was so step and fetch it. It was throwback. I thought I was watching a Spike Lee movie called Bamboozled. It was, yeah. And then the next day he announces he's getting married to the girl he trotted out on the campaign trail. So I put in my IG story, tell me you're running in 2028 without telling me you're running in 2028. Yes, he's now engaged to his blonde maiden, and he shall be married in time for 2028 and wipe out those pesky questions about his sexuality or his status as a permanent bachelor or whatever it might be. But can a guy, a black guy from the South, in the South, married to a white woman, be president, be elected, especially on a Republican ticket? You could be a Supreme Court justice, apparently. Can you be president? I don't know. 800-920-1580. Hi, Mike from L.A. What's on your mind this morning?
How you doing, Dominique? Long time no talk to.
Yes, welcome back.
Has been a while, yeah. I was listening to you saying about the smash and grab and, locking them up and all that. But, I know you always cut me off when I bring this up, but, when they took the trades and
I don't cut you off. I interject, Mike.
Well, all right. When they took the trades and the vocations out of school, there was a dagger in our hearts because these kids are coming out of school. They don't have a trade. They're on vacation. They don't know nothing.
Okay, the only reason that I interject 40%. When you say this, because you do make this point a lot about trades in schools, and you're not the only one. It's kind of like a talking point or almost become like an urban legend. I know there is a movement to put vocational classes back in high schools, right? And even have entire vocational high schools. So you're on pulse with the public. The reason I interject is because all of those classes, all of those programs are still available for free to the public in California through community colleges. So if people are really serious about getting their kids or getting themselves into these spots, there is a hub on the community college websites where you can access that. That's all.
Well, what I say is the fact that you say community colleges, but I mean, in the past, when you came out of school, you were ready to go into a trade. You had the basics down pat. You know, these kids coming out of school now, only 40% of them can go to college. So that's 60% that can't even go to college, and only 20% of that.
When you say 40% can go to college, you're saying because of what their record looks like in high school, or because their families don't have money? Like, what are you attributing that to?
All of the above.
Okay. So, yeah, and I think many of us think we can't when we actually could. There's so many colleges. Yeah. You might not be going to UC Berkeley, but you can go somewhere.
Right, yeah. But, you know, before, well, like I said, it wasn't all trades that you took. You took all the basic math, history, and English and everything. But, you know, you only took maybe one class of some type of a trade. And that one class got you ready for society out here. You know, I was at a restaurant getting something to eat, and this young lady was sitting next to me, and she was talking about how she didn't even know how to cook mashed potatoes. I said, my goodness, they taught you that in school in the past.
But you know what they never taught us, Mike? And you know what they never taught us? They never taught us about balancing checkbooks, managing our finance.
They did that too. Home economics, I believe they had it.
Well,
they had that in
what I know of home economics was more about making those mashed potatoes and less about balancing checkbooks. Well, and that is the stuff that, you know, you can always get mashed potatoes. I mean, it's nice to know how to cook. I agree with you, because we tend to cook healthier at home and eat healthier at home. But there are some things that are essential, like knowing how to manage your finances. And I would love to see that in schools.
Dominic, they taught that in math.
They never taught it in any math class I was in, and they sure didn't teach my child that.
Dominic, I'm a lot older than you, Dominic. I mean...
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying, since I've been around, which ain't that short a time, they ain't taught that.
It's been over 50 years they took trades and vocations out of school, Dominique. So you really wouldn't know about what they were teaching about, you know?
Well, you know, they do have books where you can read about things, Mike. Well, I mean, I get your point. Yeah. I'm just saying, and this is well documented, not just by me, but by folks in this space of financial literacy, that this is a huge hole in our education system. And not just for black people, for U.S. Scholars. Mike, I'm happy to keep talking to you. If you want, you can do like Mike and call me at 800-920-1580. As always, we've got a lot to talk about.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580.
City of Los Angeles landlords that own rent-controlled properties, starting February 1st, you'll be able to increase rents by 4% for your rent-controlled properties. An extra 1% per utility, up to 6%, can be added only if you pay the entire gas and electric bill. And don't forget to give your tenant an advance 30-day written notice for rent increases of less than 10%. It is state law. Learn more about the rent increase at housing.lacity.org. That's housing.lacity.org.
Girl, I have a secret. When I get stressed out, I get sweaty. That's why I use Secret Clinical Antiperspirant. It's like my own secret weapon. For 72 hours, I get Secret's strongest protection against sweat caused by stress, heat, and activity, because you know how crazy life can get. Plus, it's made with advanced odor fighters that don't just cover up smelliness. They help prevent it from happening in the first place. Believe me, if I weren't wearing Secret, I'd be a hot, smelly mess. Thankfully, Secret works.
I have diabetes. I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
I have asthma. I'm at risk, too.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a Pfizer vaccine that can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
There's only a few days left for open enrollment, starting at $0 a month. LA Care Covered offers the benefits you need to achieve your health goals. $0 preventive services, 24/7 virtual care and nurse advice lines, walk-in minute clinics, free fitness and nutrition classes, and more. Become a member of LA's most affordable health plan. Get a free instant quote at lacarecovered.org. Have open enrollment questions? Connect with us today at 855-222-4239. Find your affordable path to wellness with LA Care Covered today.
Heard any other talk radio lately that sounds anything like this? We didn't think so. You're listening to Unapologetically Progressive, KBLA Talk 1580.
And Mike from LA called me on 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. He has an ongoing concern about the lack of vocational training in schools. And I would suggest, Mike, that if you're really interested in making a difference, you might want to reach out to the Community Coalition in South LA over there on 80th and Vermont. They actually are involved in work to bring back vocational programs in some of our South LA high schools. Also, I know that there is a school being built, and some folks in the community are really pretty dead set against it. A whole vocational school being built there on Vermont that is meant to prepare young people for careers in transit. So I don't know if you're for or against that, but I was surprised how many people were resisting it. To me, because it's not like something anyone would be forced to do. You would go there because that's what you wanted to do with your life.
Well, that's true. But Dominique, there's one other thing I'd like to bring up if I could.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hello?
Mm-hmm.
Now, as far as the homeless situation, the mayor could cut the homeless situation overnight if she wanted to.
How would she do that? How would she do that? Or how would Garcetti have done it? Or how would have? No, I just want to know. You say she could cut it overnight.
Well,
how? Be specific.
If you let me talk, I'll tell you, Dominique.
You've been talking quite a while, Mike, so quit tripping.
There's millions of homes here in L.A. They can't find space for these people to put in. Now, if they change the law as far as you renting a room to somebody, if they had the same law as a person that rent out a hotel or motel, if you don't pay your rent in the motel, you out of there. Or if you act up in a hotel or motel, you out of there. But if you rent a room to a person in your house and you have a problem with that person, you have to go to eviction proceedings. That could take 3 months to a year getting them out of there, and it would cost you a great deal of money to get them out of your house. That's why a lot of people wouldn't even rent a room to a person. And all the people out there aren't crazy or have mental problems.
No, we know that.
There's some people that just can't afford.
But you really think enough people would step up and rent rooms to 60, whatever it is, 45,000?
I think it'd be a great deal of people that would be willing to do that.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think that's an interesting idea. I don't know that would get us all the way out, but I think it's an interesting idea to, loosen up the rules for people getting in and out of living in apartments. I know, for example, from friends I have in Georgia, it's even harder there. If someone lives with you, if they live in your house and you want them out, you can end up being the one that gets put out because there are such strong protections for those folks that rent homes in rooms inside people's homes, or even roommates or live-in boy or girlfriends, that you can't get rid of the person once they're in. And so, I mean, I can see the concern, Mike. I'm not sure it would overnight fix the whole problem, but to any extent that it provides more housing, it's useful. And I don't know what it takes to change that without weakening tenant protections for regular renters of apartments and such, right? Because if you weaken protections for people renting a room inside a home, well, I guess anything's possible if you got the lawyers and the lawmakers working together. But I would be concerned about something like that undermining tenant protections as well, which could have unintended consequences. But yeah, and I do think, to your point, Mike, thinking creatively about what have we not done yet that might solve the problem? What have we not done yet that could take the problem down a notch? It's true, not everyone is mentally ill or on drugs. In fact, you know a huge percentage of those who are unhoused, and probably those are the ones you're less likely to see because they're living in their car, they're couch surfing, or they're not visible. However they're getting by, they're out of view. I like to hike sometimes up in these hills. Lots of great hiking spots in LA, from Runyon Canyon to Kenneth Hahn Park. And I see some people camped out in the parks, out of view with a sleeping bag, and those folks are probably trying to get by and find a way to be housed or, continue to function while they are facing these challenges. So clearly that's not the case. But there are also a lot of people in need of services, whether it be mental health or, their physiological well-being, or both. And those are the people, in my opinion, that undermine public sympathy for the unhoused because of people being attacked, because of the squalor that is spreading in some areas. And so I think that's one more reason why it's important, aside from the fact that people are dying on these streets. It's one more reason why it is important to get care for people who need it. Just had the Oscar nominations announced. Oppenheimer, I guess, had 13 nominations, the most of anybody. Poor Things had 11. Killers of the Flower Moon got 10. Barbie got 8. So, we'll be hearing more. I'll have a chance to look a little bit more closely at this and see what was left out. We'll talk about it when we do that. But, of course, I'm always interested to see what's happening, how these major institutions are trending, particularly when it comes to us, BIPOC people, women, Black people in particular. Did we get any love at all? It does not look like it, from first glance, like it was. It's a great year for Black folks, although there are two in the leading role, Coleman Domingo for Rustin, and well-deserved, and Jeffrey Wright for American Fiction, which I haven't seen, but I've never seen him do a bad job. News, traffic, and sports, and then more on KBLA Talk 1580. We'll be talking with Supervisor Holly Mitchell when we come forward, only right here.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. President Biden is honoring 2 Navy SEALs who are presumed dead after going missing off the coast of Somalia. He said in a statement that it's a profound loss for our country. The 2 disappeared earlier this month during a special covert mission to seize Iranian missile parts on their way to Yemen. One fell into the rough waters, the other jumped in to rescue him. Faith leaders and council members are rallying today to call on the New York City Council to override Mayor Eric Adams' veto of a bill that requires police to fill out more paperwork during stops. Faith leaders are expected to speak about how the bill delivers greater police transparency and accountability. The African-American mayor, who is a former police officer, is urging council members to take a ride in a patrol car. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
New year, new hiring needs? Indeed's end-to-end. Learn more by visiting Indeed.com/credit.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute